Two films, two visions, one iconic hero. In 2013, Man of Steel arrived with intensity, introducing a darker, mythic Superman. Now, in 2025, James Gunn's Superman offers a warmer, more emotionally grounded interpretation. Both films tell the story of Clark Kent, the Man of Tomorrow, but in completely different ways. Beyond tone and narrative, there's also the matter of box office performance. So let's take a closer look at how these two Supermen compare. When Man of Steel released in 2013, it framed Superman as a figure of awe and fear. The tone was heavy, serious, even somber. Zack Snyder crafted a world where Superman felt like a god among men, misunderstood, feared, and forced to wrestle with what his presence meant for humanity. It asked questions like, can the world handle a god living among us? And what must Clark sacrifice to belong here? James Gunn's Superman, arriving in 2025, takes a very different path. This is not an origin story. Clark Kent is already Superman, already a part of Metropolis, and already a trusted figure at the Daily Planet. Instead of myth and burden, Gunn emphasizes optimism. His Superman is compassionate, empathetic, and rooted in the idea that kindness is not weakness, but strength. Where Man of Steel sought to deconstruct Superman and his myth, Superman in 2025 seeks to rebuild him, to inspire, and to show why hope still matters. Henry Cavill's Superman in Man of Steel is a reluctant hero. He spends much of the film searching for belonging, torn between Krypton and Earth, burdened by the weight of his powers and responsibilities. His character is stoic, quiet, and often isolated. David Corenswet's Superman in 2025 is very different. He is younger, brighter, more emotionally expressive. He's a Superman who smiles, who connects with people, and who doesn't wrestle with whether he should be Superman, but with how to remain true to his humanity while carrying the mantle of the world's greatest hero. If Cavill's Superman asked, should I save humanity? Corenswet asks, how can I save humanity and still stay human myself? Lois Lane is another telling difference between the two films. Amy Adams played Lois in Man of Steel as a determined journalist who uncovers Clark's secret early. She is brave and driven, though much of her role is built around supporting Clark's journey. In Superman 2025, Rachel Brosnahan's Lois promises to be sharper, wittier, and more independent. She isn't just Superman's love interest, but his equal in spirit, a true partner both emotionally and professionally. This Lois isn't a bystander. She shapes the story alongside Clark. The villains also show how differently these films see Superman. In Man of Steel, the threat comes from General Zod, played by Michael Shannon. The conflict is galactic and catastrophic, culminating in battles that level entire cities. Zod represents everything Clark left behind on Krypton, forcing Superman to choose between his heritage and his humanity. In Superman 2025, the villain is Lex Luthor, portrayed by Nicholas Hoult. This is not the cartoonish mad scientist of older interpretations, but a modern Lex. Media-savvy, politically sharp, and deeply manipulative. He doesn't just try to destroy Superman with weapons, but with perception, twisting how the public sees him. In a world of misinformation and distrust, this Lex may be more dangerous than Zod ever was, because he attacks minds, not buildings. The world building also sets the two films apart. Man of Steel is very much a solo story. It keeps Superman isolated, and outside of brief mentions, there is little to suggest a broader DC universe. It is one man, one hero, standing against the world. But Superman 2025 is part of a brand new shared universe. That means allies. Alongside Clark, we'll see characters like Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner's Green Lantern, and even Krypto the Superdog. Superman doesn't stand alone here. Instead, he is surrounded by other heroes, friends, and partners. That immediately creates a lighter, more connected atmosphere. Superman is not just the only savior, but part of a community. Visually, the differences are just as striking. Snyder's Man of Steel is stormy, dramatic, filled with muted colors and heavy shadows. Superman is depicted as an almost alien force entering a broken world. Gunn's Superman is brighter, warmer, and more inviting. From the early previews, it leans into vibrant colors, heartfelt compositions, and even moments of humor. We'll see high-tech robots in the Fortress of Solitude, whimsical touches that remind us Superman's world is fantastical as well as inspiring. Where Snyder's Superman stood against darkness, Gunn's Superman brings light. Now let's talk numbers. Box office performance says a lot about how audiences received each version of Superman. In 2013, Man of Steel earned about $291 million domestically, with another $379 million internationally. Its worldwide total reached around $670 million. By blockbuster standards, it was successful, though not record-breaking, and it laid the foundation for the DC Extended Universe that followed. For context, in that same year, Iron Man 3 earned over $1.2 billion worldwide, and Frozen brought in more than $1.2 billion as well. Compared to those giants, Man of Steel didn't reach the top tier, but it still ranked in the top 10 highest-grossing films of 2013. Superman in 2025 had a strong domestic showing. By mid-year, it earned around $335 million in the United States, outpacing Man of Steel on home turf. Internationally, it collected about $250 million, bringing its global total to around $585 million. That's lower than Man of Steel worldwide, but domestically it became the highest-grossing solo Superman film ever released. Superman 2025 even topped Man of Steel's opening weekend. Zack Snyder's film opened to about $116 million domestically. James Gunn's Superman debuted to $125 million, slightly stronger, proving there is still a large appetite for the character when presented with warmth and optimism. Now let's look at inflation adjustments. If we take Man of Steel's 2013 box office and adjust for ticket price inflation to 2025, its $670 million worldwide haul would equal roughly $820 million today. By that measure, Man of Steel still edges out Gunn's Superman globally. But domestically, Superman 2025's numbers are stronger even after adjusting, showing that audiences in the United States were especially eager for a new take on the character. Context also matters. In 2025, the movie landscape is very different than it was in 2013. Superhero fatigue has been setting in, and audiences are more selective. For Superman 2025 to debut with over $120 million and hold strong domestically was a sign of renewed interest, especially compared to recent DC efforts that struggled to even cross $200 million worldwide. Against its competition, Superman 2025 became one of the top-grossing films of the year in the United States, sitting just behind juggernauts like the Minecraft movie and Disney's live-action Lilo and Stitch. What these numbers show us is fascinating. Man of Steel triumphed on the world stage, thanks to its epic scale and international appeal. Superman 2025, on the other hand, resonated most strongly with American audiences, who embraced James Gunn's brighter, more hopeful Superman. Both films succeeded, but in different ways, one through mythic spectacle, the other through emotional relatability. So what does all of this mean? Man of Steel will be remembered as the film that dared to challenge Superman's myth, grounding him in a modern and cynical world, and forcing him to earn his place through struggle and sacrifice. Superman 2025 is shaping up to redefine him for a new generation, presenting him as a beacon of hope, a partner, a friend, and above all, a man who proves that goodness still matters.